This lens, it's making from your Fujifilm cameras X-T5, X-T30, X-T4 and X-Pro 3 a true rangefinder, And I want to share with you how to manual focus this lens, how to get the rangefinder experience with this lens, with X-Pro 3, with X-T5, with X-T30. So let's talk about this now. Hi there and welcome to my channel. My name is Tudor Matescu and I want to share with you my settings, my go-to tricks for racking the Voigtländer Ultron lenses and especially the 27mm f2 lens that has a focusing tab on your Fujifilm camera. I will address how you can manual focus this lens on X-Pro 3, on X-T5 and also on X-T30 and what are the best settings. So let's get into the subject, but before, please subscribe and like this video. So let's start first with X-T5. Why this lens? It's a game changer for X-T5. From the minute that I bought this lens, I was using it on X-Pro 3, the first camera, next on X-T5 and next on X-T30. But I've discovered that I'm inclined more and more to use it on X-T5. Why? Because the X-T5 has better image quality and it has a feature that X-T30 doesn't has and also X-Pro 3 doesn't has. So X-T5 latest or not so latest firmware, but the previous firmware update helped me have a new option for manual focusing. So when I'm putting the camera in manual focusing mode and I'm pressing the display button, 1, 2, 3, I have this screen. So a big screen and a patch, a right side patch for manual focusing. So in the big screen, we are able to see the entire image and on the little screen, we are able to see the image at 100% focused. So 100% cropped. So this means you have a true rangefinder patch, and I will tell you immediately why it's true, but why again is not at the level of a Leica, but you are almost there. You are almost there. So you have 100% crop. In this little patch, you can focus by just looking because the screen is very sharp and you are able to see when you are focusing that you have the image in focus. So in the focusing window, you will be able to see 100% crop from the little square that you will normally use for AF. So if you press the joystick and move the little green square, you will see that 100% crop in your focusing patch. Let's call it like this. So what does this mean? This means you can focus by looking at the patch and don't have that annoying zoom in, if you are annoyed about that zoom in. But we'll talk immediately why the zoom in probably it's the best choice for manual focusing. Next, you can activate manual focusing helpers like focus picking, but also like prism, but also like split image. So if you'll go in manual focusing assist on page 2 from 3 on AF and MF, you will have the options of digital split, digital micro prism and focus picking. All these options are working great with this setting. Also, this view can be activated by pressing the display key in the EVF. But what's more interesting, and I will tell you immediately, it's very interesting, is that you can have in the EVF another manual focusing option activated depending on how you press the display button. So you have different manual focusing option for EVF and also for the screen. So I've discovered if you will activate digital split image, you'll have a small digital split image like on Leica in the focusing patch. So this is great. Also, because you have a huge EVF, when you look through the huge EVF, if you press again for the EVF the display key, you'll have the same view as on your viewfinder because the EVF is very big. You can have all these options. This option is working great if you aren't in a hurry and if you want to focus like this. Also, if you shoot black and white, you can activate red picking and the option for focusing, it will work even better with this setting. Why? Because when you look through the EVF, you don't have all that red picking on your image, you'll just have it in your patch. And when the subject will be in focus, you'll be able to see with the corner of your eye that red on your subject. So you can stay focused on your subject, and when the red is clipping, you can hit the shutter button. So all these methods are really working great, but it will slow you a little. Also, I advise to activate EVF brightness at +5 to be able to see very good the image in the EVF. So great option on X-T5. But I've discovered that the best settings for me are the focus check on, no focus picking, no micro prism, no digital split image, but focus check on. So zoom in the image when you'll focus with the ring and hit the shutter button. How I am using this setting? I have the screen settings like this, so I will be able to see in the small patch 100% the image magnified. But in the EVF, I don't keep the same setting. If I want to shoot with the EVF, I will keep the entire image, and when I'm moving the focusing tab, I will have focus by zooming in, by punching zoom. So it really depends on you. My preferred setting is punching zoom. It is faster, it is more clear, it is more effective for fast street photography. But for a slower experience, for a patch-like finder experience, you can use this trick because it's really working. The digital split image, it will show you like a real patch in this little window, and it will work better than any setting that you have till now on Fujifilm, because you don't have this option on X-T30. Now let's talk how this Voigtländer lens, it's a game changer for X Pro 3 shooter. I think this lens, it's not communicating with X Pro 2, unfortunately. So these options are also available for X Pro 3, just that you have a real small patch. The patch it's working, but it's a little too small for this kind of option, and you will have problems in focusing, but it's working okay. It's working okay, so it's showing where you will put the little square box the right image. So you'll be able to do it, but not at the level of X-T5, but yes, you have an optical viewfinder. So this is the huge advantage here, that you have an optical viewfinder. So I've tried with focus picking, I've tried with focus magnifier, I've tried with that little patch. So what I've discovered is that the best option is that if you want to use the optical viewfinder, you can activate the punch in zoom option, so manual focusing assist on Fujifilm, and when you turn the focusing tab, the optical viewfinder will change to EVF automatically, and it will show you the image punched in automatically. After this, if you will lightly press the shutter button, you'll go back to the optical viewfinder. So this is the best option that I was able to discover, that it's working very nice on X Pro 3. Also, you have exactly zone focusing options and so on. I will not enter in those details. I'm just talking about the rangefinder experience. So it's working okay with the patch, with that EVF that has a small electronical patch. That patch, it's very small compared to X-T5. So this is why I'm using Voigtländer as much as possible on my X-T5. Next, on X-T30, this is an X100V killer. This is an X100V killer, and I probably do a review about this combo in another video and why it's a killer. Full frame like image on this, full frame like image, no compromises. So how the manual focusing it's working with X-T30? Well, X-T30 it's more limited than X Pro 3 and X-T5, but you have punch in zoom, so manual focusing assist. This is the best option on X-T30. So punch in zoom and hit the shutter button. Of course, you can use picking, that it's working okay, but I don't like to see that picking. When you shoot at f8, you will see picking all over your image. It's not a nice experience, even with the EVF or with the screen. So this is why I don't like too much to use picking, and it's doing a great job, but I feel that punch in zoom is doing a better job. It's very easy to punch in zoom, lightly press, see the entire image, compose and take the shot. It's very easy, and this is why personally I wanted a lens with electronic contacts, because on a manual focusing lens that doesn't communicate with the body, you don't have this option. So this is why This lens is very important because you have electronic contacts that is communicating with the body, and you don't have to make many movements to punch into zoom. Yes, you can assign a button to punch into zoom, but the experience on the streets with your family, it's not something that I enjoy too much. Yes, you can get used to it, but in general, I've discovered this. When I'm shooting lenses with electronic contacts, I've shot Loxia Zeiss on my Sony a7S, and compared to lenses that don't have electronic contacts, I'm inclining more to use these lenses with electronic contacts or AF lenses. But when I have a lens with electronic contacts, I can stay with it without problems. I don't feel the need to change it because I can acquire focus very fast, even with zone focusing or with punch-in zoom at a bright aperture like f2, and I will be able to nail the focus. So this is why this lens, it's a game changer. You have all these options on all Fujifilm bodies that are communicating with this lens, so you'll have no frustration and no extra movements to acquire focus. So a great lens on X-T30, X-Pro C, X-T5, X-E4 and other compatible Fujifilm bodies that are working with this lens. Now, if you want to discover more about this lens and why I'm loving it so much and why this lens will offer you full frame like image quality, please check this video. I will dissect this lens and why I'm so in love with this lens so much regarding image quality. Click here right now.